Hello, the channel. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's going to do a quick market update, a few thoughts on what's happening at the moment, and then once we get to the end of this video, we're going to pick the next giveaway winner for next couple of game weeks for the August giveaway. So we'll start off in terms of looking at what's happening. We've had a big week, obviously, in Sorare. Cash wallet's been introduced. Looks as if everyone's been able to activate that pretty easily. Quite a slick rollout as well. So before I go through things, well done to Sorare, obviously, for getting that rolled out. I know there are some people that are quite traditionally having things linked to Ethereum and everything as well. But I think it's a big door to unlock in terms of the market in general. Loads of nuances to things. Obviously, things will develop. There are some downsides just now. You've got two separate wallets. You can't move your fiat to buy Ethereum and all that type of stuff, or you can't buy a card that's available in fiat and F and part pay, or you can't part pay at auctions and all that type of stuff. But it's a huge step forward. As said in one of the previous videos, obviously having like 200 countries available to pay in pounds, euros, or dollars is absolutely superb. And I think the dollars one comes on in the next couple of weeks at the start of September as well. So first thing I wanted to have a look at was 157 new managers with a first investment. So obviously this has stimulated things a wee bit. 157 isn't anything sort of groundbreaking or whatever. You would expect this type of stuff at the start of the season, obviously, anyway, but it's still a good sign. It's good to see people getting involved. You think back, and I mentioned it again in previous videos, to Nicholas talking about having a cash wallet, getting the mobile end of things sorted, and then pushing marketing. People always ask, well, it's like, what's the difference, all that type of stuff. Well, first difference is, and I've spoken to a few people about this, if you're trying to get your pals involved and you say, oh, well, don't put on an accumulator at the weekend, don't spend 20 or 30 quid on the horses if you're down the pub or whatever, just fire 20 or 30 quid into Sorare. Then as soon as you tell them it's a crypto game and stuff, some people go, oh, I don't want involved in crypto, no, that's a scam and that's not real money and all that type of stuff. And obviously if you've been involved in Ethereum, it's a bit more stable these days, and it's not a scam, it's not a rug pull and all that type of stuff. But people do think that, and if people think that, they don't want to actually get involved in the platform, then that's a barrier to entry, and that barrier has now been broken down. So it's, again, 157 managers isn't anything completely groundbreaking for a platform, obviously, of this size, but it's a good step in the right direction. So coming on to Sorare again, so the wallet's now split, so you've now got your cash sitting there and you've got your Ethereum sitting there as well. I know some people who are just like to deal in value and F and everything, don't like this as much, but my own personal opinion is, firstly, if you're listing, you don't want to be listing just in Ethereum and restricting your market. So unless there's a real reason for just wanting Ethereum, you might have a real reason. You might want to bank that Ethereum and just sort of take a risk that Ethereum goes up over time and not hold fiat. You might want to do that. Some countries obviously have tax rules in terms of when you sell your Ethereum and go into cash, or maybe if you receive cash from tournaments, there might be some tax associated with that because they're assets. So there's different reasons for it. Obviously, there's different things that different people prefer, but for the moment, obviously, we've got this split wallet where you've got some cash and you've got some Ethereum in there as well. You see, I've not got much in mind because I just buy loads of cards all the time. So I always just get involved in buying cards. So let's have a quick look at that. I mean, obviously, I've been relatively active recently as well. So outgoing trade today, so I swapped Simican Super Rare and Neni Dorgelli's Super Rare, Salzburg Glad, and I got in Rio Hatate Super Rare forward card and Morato Rare. So that was a straight swap. Obviously, still a bit of a risk with Hatate, a couple of weeks to go in terms of the window. The window is something I wanted to talk about as well, actually. So, I think that the real sort of uplift in a lot of prices or whatever, or confidence, will probably be next month. So firstly, the window shuts in most places the end of this month, I know the Saudi Arabian window is open until the 20th, but it will still reduce activity. And that if the Saudi Arabian clubs come along and somebody really wants to leave or whatever, the problem is that club won't be able to buy somebody to replace them. So it's been a big obviously thing for Celtic with Jota going to Saudi Arabia as well. So there's still a risk with Tati. I mean, he's openly said that he'd probably be open to go to the EPL at some point, but just going to be gritting the teeth for the next couple of weeks and just hoping that he's here for the season. I really like Simican. I really like Neni Dargeles as well. So it was an interesting one. It wasn't a straightforward, yeah, I'm definitely doing it, but I didn't have any Hitati super rares for, I don't know why. She's just about the defender one. And Morato, he's an interesting one. He's a good player, I think. Obviously, Otamendi and Antonio Silva are the centre backs at Benfica, but I think he's the backup. So one injury there, one transfer for Antonio Silva, whatever. You just never know. He might come in and be good. So I'm going to sit on him. I've got a few young Benfica guys. Picked up a couple of young Dynamo Zagreb guys here. They're both out on loan this season as well. Just thought they were really good prices. Seem to be reasonably highly rated as well. Who knows? Maybe the next Batarina, maybe the next Raphael Scheidt. That's a real name, by the way. Celtic signed somebody called Raphael Scheidt, but there we go. So yeah, I picked them up. Elliot Panico, I picked up as a backup to Joe Willis. So didn't do very well when he played the game he came in recently. Conceded a few goals, but then Nashville have been anyway, and that's me just sort of locking up that position for now. Yang Hyun Jun, obviously signed for Celtic, and I fancied picking up the rookie card. Cifuentes signed for Rangers, so not often that I'll hold a Rangers card, and I probably won't. Once I get him flipped, he'll be off. Picked him up for about 100 quid, which I thought was just a ridiculous price, to be honest. I mean, you see his average is 43, but yeah, let's see what his average is like at Rangers, eh? I mean, as much as the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers, Rangers dominate other teams in the league as well, so there'll be plenty of good SO5 scores there. Joseph Sitalo looks quite likely he's going to go to Ajax, so I decided to take the plunge with him. Obviously, there were some other mooted rumours which weren't really too good. I'm kind of kicking myself because I had a balance and I seen a super rare for 1,100 quid on the Fiorentina rumours, and I just obviously didn't really want to take that risk. But I wish I had now, but there we go. If he goes to Ajax, it's a great card. I also picked up David Turnbull. Obviously, you'll see from the Play Sharper lineups, I don't expect Turnbull's going to start, but he still is a talented player, falls in the collection, and 94 quid, for a guy who's actually pretty good at SO5. He's struggling to get in the Celtic team, but he's good at SO5. And I bought a Lanzalotta recently as well. Reason I picked him up is there was rumour of him going to Colon. The goalkeeper there at Argentinos gets sent off, and then they never brought on Lanzalotta. They brought on somebody else. So I really think he's going to be on his way out, and obviously he's proven to be a good goalkeeper as well. So in terms of market update, obviously that's a quick update in terms of my own activity. What I would say is that guys have already moved, are already quite well on the rise. So if you look at guys like Tadic, etc., now obviously he is, like one of the best sort of players on the platform and all that type of stuff, but he had obviously come down to about this level where you were talking about, kind of 600 quid, and now he's back up to trading at around about 1,000. And obviously I bought one there, and you see everybody else FOMO'd in after me. Again, there's no real risk. I don't think that he's going to go to Saudi Arabia obviously this year, so I can only really see somebody like that being pretty solid in terms of price. If you look at people who, Livakovic is obviously also mentioned in terms of a potential sort of move, etc. here as well. But if you look at price graphs and stuff with him being involved in the recent games, if you look at where he was trading in May, sort of 500 quid, and now obviously he's trading at like 865 quid. So these are rare comparisons, right? Obviously, but that's pretty good. I mean, we've had a dip in the market. If you look at obviously the overall sort of year, he used to trade at mad prices, and then he's come all the way down. But if you look at it, obviously in terms of the last couple of months, he's on the way back up. So we've not had one of these mad periods where everything just went woof, all that type of stuff, in terms of the overall market. But I'm seeing some really good signs here. I've used these guys as examples because they're guys who have either already moved or are kind of known where they're going to move. Obviously, Livakovic is also rumoured to move to Fenerbahce, which, I don't think is really any better than Zagreb, to be honest, in terms of scores and all that type of stuff. But it's not Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, obviously, you'll have other players who have already moved to Saudi Arabia and all that type of stuff, which is obviously isn't good. But to come back to the overall market, I mean, I think there's some good signs there. Honestly, I think there's some good signs there. What we've got just now is we've got another couple of weeks where we've got a transfer window opened. That could really bugger things up, because you could have somebody who's really good as a sort of challenger player who moves to a Champion League. So here's a good example, obviously, of the Cherndog, Vaclav Cherny, who's an excellent player, was on really good form. Obviously, he's trading, quite high. He's like May, he's away up to 415 quid, and then he gets a move, and now he's trading at round about 154, 212. So the reason for that is he's gone from challenger to obviously champion, and it's not because there's any real issue with that. It's just because people's expectations of that are that these absolutely fantastic SO5 scores that he's been doing will probably go down a wee bit. So look at his recent form. Obviously, he was priced on these brilliant scores, and the reason he's went down a wee bit is people are thinking there, well, yeah, he's a great player, but he's got a last 5 of 70, he's got a last 15 of 71. Is he going to do 71 in champion? Is he Messi? Probably not. And therefore his price or his average has sort of halved. So, not everyone's going up, but that shows you the risk. Obviously, I'm going to really put myself in pain. I'm ready for it now. I'm going to really, really put myself in pain. Don't do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. So this is Jota's graph. So take a guess when he moved to Saudi Arabia. So, he was even up to 700 quid, and then obviously as soon as the move's gone through, people have started to get rid of him, and now obviously he's went away down. There were still people who were maybe gambling a wee bit, thinking, well, you never know, might cover Saudi Arabia, and then Sorare's come out and said, no, we're not covering Saudi Arabia this year. So that's a good example of the risk that's involved in buying somebody just now. So my recommendation is, if you're looking at players just now, if somebody's already moved and they're on a long-term contract, unless you're Willian, because that's a weird one. I've just seen a report. He's literally just signed a contract in EPL, and then it's come out and said, he's agreed terms to Saudi Arabia and he wants to move. So he's not. Has he even been through the door yet? Like, how can he be moving to Saudi Arabia? Just signed. Anyway, that just seems mad to me. But I don't like. Obviously, that's Willian, and he seems to be some sort of mercenary or whatever. But I don't get that. Like, I don't get how you can just sign and then 5 minutes later, by the way, I want to go to Saudi Arabia. Why did you sign in the EPL then? Like that's just bonkers. But that's not the norm. Obviously, if you look at guys like Tadic, he signed a 2-year deal with Fenerbahce. Could he be tempted away next year or whatever? You never know, but at least you're going to get this season out of him. You're getting a top player in terms of SO5, started really well, was on set pieces, all that type of stuff. So when we go forward and we get to the end of the month, I think things will start to settle down. Everybody's still going to be sweating Saudi Arabia from between the start of September to the 20th of September when their window shuts. And obviously from that point of view, what can you say? It could still happen, but a lot of clubs are going to dig their heels in at that point, I think, and they're going to say, well, actually, from that perspective, no, we can't get a replacement in. The last thing is, obviously, you'll see that prices have started to cool a bit in terms of the MLS, etc. So you look at Carles Gil, in terms of his graph, he's been trading around about £1,000, and then it's nothing too severe, but you'll just see there's a gradual lack of demand for him, particularly in rare. And just to give everybody limited comparisons as well, pretty similar, maybe a wee bit more harsh. Obviously, was trading at 200 quid. and now he's away down to 57 quid, which is a huge bargain. One of the best SO5 players on the platform. Why is that? Well, we're in this crossover period just now where the MLS are in the League's Cup. They come back, they've got sort of half the season left, but some of that's playoffs. Some teams might or might not get into the playoffs. Obviously, Carlisle, the Revs look quite good in terms of getting in the playoffs. So there's only half a season left. And at this point, people are mainly buying demand-wise from, EPL and big, leagues in Europe and all that type of stuff. So, prices have cooled, but these guys are starting to get to really good value prices as well. If you obviously want to pick up these guys and just view them as good SO5 players that can maybe win you something, obviously EPL, I'm not putting anyone off buying from the EPL, but if you want to look at this average, 69, if you want to buy, say, a Harry Kane or whatever who has similar average, then he's a bit more expensive. Look at price 188. Now, obviously, Kane, there's a nuance there because Kane obviously is linked with Bayern and everything. So that's keeping his price quite high. But if you look at difference in the price, obviously that reflects that he's a sort of popular top player playing in the EPL, scores really well. Obviously plays in Champion Europe, which is probably slightly higher prices overall than Champion America, but has a full season ahead of him, So, and that's what people look at. People look at runs of upcoming fixtures, who's in Europe, who's not in Europe in terms of utility. Don't get me started on the fitness bonus. I've made my point clear in the fitness bonus. So anyway, see what happens in that. But yeah, that's maybe not a fair comparison in terms of obviously price, but it's a good comparison in terms of actual last 15 scoring wise and things. And Kane's probably a bit inflated actually in terms of sort of EPL price. I'm trying to think of somebody who's maybe a bit more comparable. I mean, just to throw out a sort of midfield position, I know obviously Bruno Fernandes you'd expect to be like probably more expensive than Carlisle, but I mean scores wise obviously still pretty similar, and both guys who are excellent at the matrix. Obviously Bruno has been superb, plays with Man United, all that type of stuff. Maybe not as susceptible as a move to Saudi Arabia and everything. I don't know what's been factored in terms of the MLS now, because you've had this absolute shocker with people who own Lucas Sorare, and that's obviously a tough one to take for guys like this. And he was trading obviously 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, and then bang, this happened. He's away to Saudi Arabia, and now he's down to under a tenner. So yeah, those are the risks of the window at the moment. You've got a risk of a bad SO5 move. You've got a risk of somebody going to Saudi Arabia. You've always got the normal risk of people being fit or losing their place or getting injured and all that type of stuff as well, So yeah, there's still a bit to go, but the main thing I'm feeling just now is obviously I'm feeling a bit of hype with Celtic back tomorrow. I'm feeling a bit of positivity. I'm putting my teams in. I'm seeing some familiar faces. I'm not going through the dregs of some of the Asian guys I've got. I don't always play that seriously. Obviously, I do have guys like Cezinha, etc., but I don't take a lot of those divisions seriously. Those are guys I've got to play in the All-Star, So I mean, if you are looking to pick up guys and pick up good value, pick up a Hani Mukhtar for 30 quid or whatever. There's really good SO5 players out there for pretty good prices if you want to step outside your comfort zone. And people will not like me saying this, but this is perfectly natural to see the MLS and stuff being at this stage. That's what happens in previous seasons. People buy or use these cards over the summer, but there are people who aren't as diehard OGs like us and basically, or like me, I don't know who us is, like me, and just want to actually play Champion Europe now, want to pick Liverpool cards or Man City cards, or if they can afford, they want to do that type of thing. They want to watch a Champions League. The MLS will grow over time, especially with Messi being there as well. And Messi going is excellent. I think that really, this last 5, Jesus. I think I provided some advice and I said buy Messi, and yeah, I'll stand by that advice. So you see with a couple of high ones, that was the 1 out of 1,000, and I'm guessing the shirt number. Yeah. And then these prices are obviously gone up and a wee bit more stable. But the reason they've not gone bonkers again is because he's in Champion America, and also, there's new ones being minted now of the Miami cards. And, some people just don't want to play Champion America. I love playing Champion America, but some people are more Euro focused. So the GOAT, what a man. I think he'll have a real positive impact, obviously, on MLS football, or soccer, as people in America like to call it, and growing the game and everything over there. And still looks to be not too bad value to me. I mean, obviously, I know it's 200 quid and stuff, but you're playing Sorare of any seriousness, and you really want somebody who's just going to consistently bash up and bash up and bash up and bash up and bash up scores. Then it's going to be Messi. He just goes through these spells where he's just picking big scores right out his backside. And even when he was at PSG, where he wasn't as happy, like 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. And look at the scores, like 135, but everything else is green. Everything. The guy's just a freak. He's an absolute freak. It's a pleasure to watch. Absolutely love it. So we'll end there. We're just going to cut off. We're going to pick the giveaway winner, and then we'll go from there. Hope everyone has a really good weekend on SO5. We now go on and we'll pick the giveaway winner. Okay, so that was update on the market. Here we go in terms of the giveaway draw. So this is the tweet, which everyone needs to like and retweet. So we'll copy this and we'll do the giveaway. So I'm running this through Twitter Picker. I don't know if anyone's actually used this before, but it's quite a good wee facility if you're doing giveaways and things. So you just load things up and basically it does the draw for you, which is good. So tweet preview sorted. Okay, 253 entries. Continue. What's happening now? Okay, good luck everyone, and go fuck. The winner is at Danny S1, Danny S 1889, Big DYSL. So be in touch with you soon, Danny. I'll leave it obviously a wee bit until everyone's seen the video, and then I'll contact you and we'll get things sorted out. Basically, you'll be picking lineups for midweek and also next weekend as well. Midweek's a wee bit of a quieter one, so there's only going to be sort of 1 or 2 teams, I think, in midweek as it stands. And then we'll have a bumper weekend next weekend with loads and loads and loads of limited teams. So good luck to you. Good luck to Footy Die this weekend as well. First giveaway winner. And then we'll have another giveaway winner next weekend for the next couple of game weeks.